situation, that is the material part, what happens to the social relations part? And one example could be the woman who was a village a farmer, who then becomes a woman leader in her village. Like, how did that shape the social relations? So just focusing on that.
Okay, and we have one question from Dr. Chan to Samantha.
Because I think they're very interesting experience from South Africa, and then I always heard about this rural women's assembly that you showed in the slide, and it seems that it's a kind of really organization that can get, it's a kind of network. I want to know something more about this kind of what is the function of this rural women's assembly? Because for us it's something quite not easy to imagine. Rural women coming together to have an assembly, because it's not visible in China, even here. So I want to know something more about how this kind of it means to organize women and what actually the impact on relationships and things like that.
Okay, so maybe all of you can comment first on Margot's question, and then Samantha can answer your question, Dr. Janaki. Who wants to go first? Social relations, so how does this initiative affect social relations? Yeah.
Well, in the case of Shanxi, it actually is quite visible, the impact on social relations. If you like what I presented in one of the I didn't have time to present the clip that this woman talk about the change of relationship. Yeah, because of this experiment. As I said, the chemical agriculture actually divide people. They just do their own things, and then they also disconnected with nature and Terre. But I talk about the horizontal and social relationship. Because they have to do things together, now they have the chance to come together to talk about the experiments, and also to discuss the impacts and the results, and also to because that village also have a sort of some families do have a computer, yeah, like Tuen, yeah, and so some other villagers will come to her home, yeah, to check something, to see some kind of materials, yeah, and also have meetings in the home, yeah, and also we also organize one kind of sharing of the fruits that they produce by individual farmer. Before, they never come together to taste each other's product. So they just produce it, and then the middle person come and they just take their product away to the market. So they never actually communicate with, oh, how do you really make this fare better, or things like that. So that is actually one level of social relationships. The other level, also I didn't have a chance to explain, is the woman's relationship with her own family. Yeah, because like Tuen, she said that she had a very not easy relationship with her mother-in-law, because in the village, in China, it's quite the conflict between women and the mother-in-law is quite common, that they have conflicts. And then so after Tuen said, after she realized her relationship with nature is so important, yeah, because of this awareness, she started to sort of improve or to reconcile with the mother-in-law and try to treat her very well, yeah, because of this change. So there's a kind of also change of social relations at the family level, and also with her children and with her husband, because the husband also supported her. Yeah, because her husband actually is a pesticide sprayer. His health was damaged. Yeah, so after working together, and then they have, yeah, also have a better relationship. So actually, this kind of it seems like a technical experiment, but actually it has an impact on building the relationship at different levels. Yeah.
Can we ask Dr. Shi first and Mr. Su to comment on social relations, and then Samantha?
In the case of Anlong village in Chengdu, in the city of Chengdu, the village of Anlong, it is located in a very beautiful place with rivers and forests. So after this, the food safety scandals happened year after year. Many capitalists, they want to buy land in their village. I think if there are not these organic farmers, right now they have non-CSA farmers in that village. So their power becomes stronger and stronger. So they get together. Right now they are not a cooperative, but they distribute their vegetables together. So in some extent, they still have a kind of organization. So they get together and talk with the government and also with the capitalists. They don't want to sell the land. So they hinder the program. So many companies, they come in these several years, they come to that village. I think all because of their efforts, they refused many these kinds of investments. This is one of the examples. And also in this several years, some consumers, they talk about the farmers, and also they are saying that why the price of your vegetables are so low. Can our consumers increase the price of your products? That the farmers, they are very hardworking, and they put all of their efforts to work on the land. But why our consumers, we just pay so little money to buy their vegetables? So that's kind of I don't think that kind of relationship will happen in the city. So I think that kind of relationship is emerging in this new model. So that it connected and also in Little Donkey Farm, many urban people, they come to the farm to work on their piece of land every weekends, and you could feel the difference when the urban people, they come to the nature area, so they will not have their view. They will very naturally talk with the local farmers to ask for the techniques how to grow food in the farm. So the feelings are very different. So I think that changes the relationship, the social relationship.
草根之家经过5年的努力呢，主要的就是在这个人际关系，主要是消除了城里人对外来务工者的歧视。现在至少在我们服务的社区，本地人跟外地人是基本上是没有隔阂的，是可以非常融洽的相处的。未来在城乡互动方面，我们的努力方向就是让农村农民不再是低人一等，可以慢慢的跟城市能够协调，能够平等相处，这样的努力方向。谢谢。
Samantha, would you like to address the 2 questions?
Just on the social relations question, in the South African context, like I was describing, when we talk about inequality, I don't think there's more profound example of an inequality than land. And so I think the responses of the state and the NGOs, as I described them, are about hemming in the possibilities for radical redistribution. And so when we talk about social relations, as people have struggled to get access to land, whether that's men or women, and women pressing for land is a much more radical agenda, we've seen tremendous kickbacks by NGOs hemming rural communities, landless communities, into sort of acceptable demands on the state. When women, through the Rural Women's Movement, were pressing for a transformation in customary system, in the customary system, it was quite a radical revolutionary transformation, and you've actually seen the ANC just in the last 2 years strengthen the power of traditional authorities. So when Mamdani talks about citizens in the rural context in South Africa, as we've seen under colonization in significant parts of the Africa region, rural people and rural women in particular are subjects more than citizens. I think within the family, as women have struggled for land, and as women have, for example, expanded production, as we've seen in some small pockets in South Africa with some NGO support and through government land reform programs, I think that's really unsettled relations within the family. But I think these are very substantive political questions in South Africa. On your question around the Rural Women's Assembly, what has been the vision around the Rural Women's Assembly? In the Southern Africa region, there's been national assemblies of rural women, and there have been 2 regional assemblies of rural women. At this stage, it's really just been a gathering of women on an annual basis. And I think this last assembly has opened up a lot of questions for us around where to. I think there's very powerful political demands that rural women in Southern Africa are making. We're seeing enormous potential to link and unify struggles across countries, to press for legislative and policy change, to support the building of movement. Where that takes us to, I think, is a question that we have to answer now. Is it going to take us towards sort of an institution, an organized way of cooperating across national boundaries? I don't know. I mean, even the National Assembly's rural women are saying we really need support to build the movement, and this again raises a whole lot of political questions around how that support is structured, where it comes from, and the possibilities of really compromising political struggle.
Okay, last point.
I forget to mention about whether that's very important aspect about the social relations is the gendered one. I talk about this technician. Usually the farmers just follow the technicians to spray pesticides. Yeah, and because like I said, because they don't observe and or just follow instructions from the village expert, so-called agricultural expert. So they just tell you now, they just have to notify the farmer through there is a kind of publicity channel in the village. So they just usually follow. And then these experts are usually men. Yeah. And then now, because of this experiment, yeah, so these women leaders actually leading the campaign. They did experiments, and actually they have something. They proved that what the experts said, the man expert, technician said before, that is actually it is impossible to substitute pesticides in the village. That's what he said. There's no way, because all these are small farmers. These land are just scattered. Yeah. So there's no way to do this kind of experiment. Now, because of this experiment, and which was sort of successful, yeah, actually this man, actually the technician, which tried to keep himself far away from this experiment and what the women are doing, now he's sort of appreciating what they're doing and then try to cooperate with them, yeah, and see. So you can see this kind of usually expert technician man, and then women are sort of they're not the subject of knowing. So because of this experiment, this kind of relationship, the power relationship is a bit sort of transforming. Yeah. So not only the expert man is the knowing subject, but the women are also knowing subject. I think that is also very important.
Okay, so we don't have much time, so maybe we can close this session by giving our discussants a big round of applause. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much for sharing your ideas with us. It's a dinner time, same room, I think.
你帮我拿一下这个。